You ever have one of those days where you wake up and for once you don't feel that pressure? Like you're not thinking, who am I talking to today? What am I doing later? Am I falling behind? Am I lonely? Am I missing out? You just wake up and it's like, it's just me. And weirdly, it feels peaceful, not empty, not sad, peaceful. And that's what I want to talk about. Because I think most people don't even realize this version of life exists. So let me explain what happened. And this isn't some guru go meditate on a mountain type of thing. I've been sleeping later than I tell myself I want to. Like the past couple nights, it was late. But last night I went to bed earlier than usual. Still late, but earlier than the past few nights. And I wake up and I just felt different. And I'm not saying I woke up like a different human being. I'm not saying the mental pressure was lower. The pressure to always be interacting, always be connected, always doing something with someone, it wasn't there. And it made me realize something that sounds simple, but most people don't actually live it. Solitude isn't loneliness, solitude is alignment. Why this hits different than normal self help? Because here's the difference. Most self help talks about being alone like it's a concept, like a quote, like learn to love your own company. Okay, cool, but that doesn't change anything for most people because they're still not actually doing it. What I'm talking about is different. It's not advice, it's an experience. It's like I tested it. I didn't plan it like today I'm gonna be enlightened. It just happened and something shifted. And when you finally feel that shift, you realize how many of your daily thoughts are basically just dependence. Not even on people specifically, dependence on stimulation, the pressure drop, what it actually is. A lot of people think the pressure is external, like people expect me to be social, or I need friends, or I need to be out, or I need attention. The truth is, most of the pressure is internal. It's the story you're telling yourself that if you're not consistently connected, you're failing. That's why when plans fall through, people spiral because it's not, oh, plans fell through. It's, damn, am I alone again? And if you have that story, then being alone doesn't just feel quiet. It feels like a verdict. Like, this is what my life is. And that's what I felt was different today. There was no verdict. There was no, what does this mean about me? It was just quiet. And quiet felt like peace, not punishment. Point 3, the most important distinction, solitude versus isolation. This matters because people confuse these two things. Isolation is when you're alone and it feels heavy. It feels like you're unwanted. It feels like you're missing something. Solitude is when you're alone and it feels clean. It feels like you can breathe. It feels like your brain stops performing. You're not proving anything. You're not keeping up. You're not trying to become a version of yourself for other people. You're just existing. And a lot of people have never experienced that second one. Because the second it gets quiet, they reach for something. Phone, music, a show, a chat, anything. Not because they're weak, because that's what the modern life trains you to do. Point 4. Why go MIA for a week actually makes sense when done right. So I saw this idea today that basically was like, after something intense happens, you should just go MIA. Not in a dramatic way, not like I'm deleting everybody, more like give yourself time when you're not performing for anyone, not even explaining yourself, not even reacting to what the world thinks. And that made me think, how do you expect a human being to process something massive in like 30 minutes? Like if something big happens, good or bad, how are you supposed to understand what it means if you immediately jump back into noise? The reason MIA for a week works is because it creates a vacuum. And in that vacuum, your real thought finally shows up. Not the thoughts you borrowed from the internet, not the thoughts you repeat because you saw them somewhere, your actual thoughts. And I want to be clear, going MIA doesn't mean scrolling alone. That's not solitude. That's just isolation with the screen. Going MIA means walking, reading, learning something, watching something intentionally, building a skill, even being bored on purpose. Because boredom is where your brain starts doing deeper work. Why most people can't do this? Here's the uncomfortable truth: most people don't actually hate being alone. They hate what their brain says when they're alone. Because when there's no noise, your mind brings up the stuff you've been avoiding: regrets, insecurities, pressure, old loops, comparisons. What if I never become who I want to become? All those negative thoughts. And instead of sitting with that and understanding it, people escape it. And I get it, because escaping works short term. It gives you relief. But long term, it makes your mind stronger than you. It teaches your brain we can't handle silence. So every time you're alone, your brain creates urgency. Text someone, go out, start something, scroll, fill the space, and eventually you forget how to live without constant input. Point 6: the realization people should be icing, not oxygen. This is the main point. People are amazing, friends are amazing, community is amazing. But if your happiness depends on people being available, you're living on a borrowed stability. Because people have lives, schedules change, friend groups shift, people get busy, people move, things happen. So if your internal world can't be stable on its own, your mood will always be at the mercy of someone else's availability. That's why I truly believe the best way to live is to learn to have fun by yourself. Not cope by yourself, not survive by yourself, but actually enjoy your own company. And then anything with other people becomes a bonus, icing on the cake. Not because you're cold, not because you hate people, but because you're not dependent. You're choosing. Point 7: why this changes everything. Because once you can be alone without feeling that pressure, your whole life becomes lighter. You stop doing things just to be seen. You stop needing proof that you matter. You stop making decisions based on what it would look like. You start living based on what actually feels right. And the funniest part is, that's usually when people become more attractive, more confident, and more magnetic anyway. Because your energy shifts from please accept me to I'm good. That energy is rare. Practical part. Not a list, just a simple challenge. So here's what I challenge you to do. Nothing extreme. Pick one day this week, literally one day, where you intentionally reduce the noise. Not no phone forever. Just stop filling every gap. Go on a walk without needing something in your ear. Sit for 10 minutes without grabbing your phone. Do one thing alone on purpose. And don't treat it like a sad thing. Treat it like training, because that's what it is. It's training your nervous system to feel safe with you. In closing, and look, I'm not going to pretend like I'm some perfect person who has this mastered. I'm just saying I felt a glimpse of something today that made me realize a lot of the pressure we feel isn't life itself. It's the constant need to escape ourselves. And when you finally stop escaping, you realize you're not the enemy. You're actually a good company. And once you get to that point, friends, relationships, experiences, all that stuff still matters, but it stops being your lifeline. It becomes what it should have been the whole time: icing on the cake.